I took a Plaud AI note-taking device to AWS reInvent 2025, and I would like to tell you about the experience. Good and bad. Let's talk about it. So welcome to Dave is Not AI. I'm Dave, an AI expert and an AI skeptic. Let's get started. So AI-powered productivity tools surge in popularity right now. We covered a few of them on this channel already, and Plaud has emerged as the world's leading AI note-taking brand right now. I'm seeing a lot of people carrying this thing around, and I figured out I wanted to find out if it was any good or not. So offering a suite of devices designed to make capturing, transcribing, and utilizing spoken information effortlessly. So we'll take a look at what this technology does, the different price points that you have to pay to get different devices and different subscription services, and really whether or not it's useful or not. And so what I did is I took this device, which I just purchased on a Black Friday sale for I think 130 something bucks on Amazon, and brought it to reInvent, where I had dozens and dozens of meetings every day. And instead of popping my laptop up and taking notes right in front of the people I was talking to, I basically used this device to record the conversations or transcribe the conversations, and then used AI to summarize things, some of the key points, what I needed to pay attention to, things like that. And I'll tell you about how the experience went, because it was a lot of fun, a lot of frustration from time to time, but it was definitely learning. So first, the three devices that they sell are basically tiers, and they're pretty much close in price, and I'll talk about the pricing later. First is going to be the Plaud Note Pro, which is the advanced model featuring 4 MEMS, that probably stands for something, microphones for studio-grade, multi-directional audio capture, and automatic switching between in-person and audio recordings. So the device looks like this, and you can see the switch on the top with the little red thing. I have the next tier down. And when you turn the switch to seeing the red, it'll record phone calls. In other words, I can attach this to the back of my phone with a little sleeve that they provide. It slides in here. By the way, good luck getting it out, because I had to use needle nose pliers to get it out the first time I put it in there. And obviously the switch is exposed, and I can put this on the back of my phone using MagSafe. With the newer iPhones, they have that capability. And with the switch on, I can record or transcribe the conversations. In other words, I can use this decoupled away from the phone, basically as a recording device or a transcribing device, and I can attach it to the phone when I want to transcribe phone calls, which obviously is something I want to do that's part of this device as well. Well, the Plaud Pro device is able to switch, it's able to auto detect whether you're on a phone call or not, or as this is just a conversation, and switch over directly from you. So the one I got was Plaud Note. It's a professional AI note taker with 2 microphones, offering balanced portability and high quality voice recordings and a more accessible price point. So this was 130 bucks. I think they're 150 bucks. We'll look at the prices later. And this is the basic capabilities. And the only thing I saw that was different was the Pro version had a very nice LED display where you could see the status of the device, storage, things like that. And also the ability to automatically switch over to voice recording directly from, in-person recording. And so I thought that was kind of neat, but, I didn't think I needed the Pro capability, so I got the second tier down. I'm happy I did. And then finally, they have a Plaud NotePin, which is the world's most wearable AI voice recorder designed for ultra-portable hands-free note-taking. And that's basically a pen that you wear around your neck. Pretty creepy, but I've seen people wearing these things all the time, and it's able to transcribe the conversations that you have directly with other people. And obviously, if it's hanging around your neck, it looks like a piece of jewelry, weird piece of jewelry, but people use it all the time. I think it's a little Big Brother-ish, and I would not just start recording conversations with people without their consent. Obviously, you're transcribing conversations, not looking at the legal issues around that. In some states, you're not allowed to record people without their consent. But this really isn't about recording. It's about transcribing the conversation, capturing the key points out of it, and that's why you're paying the money for this thing. So as far as the pricing goes, the MSRP for the Plaud Pro is $189. You can probably get it for a little cheaper. The Plaud Note Professional AI Note Taker, the one I got, one I just showed you, was $159. I picked it up for $130 on a Black Friday sale. And if you're going for the pendant, the wearable AI Note Taker is $159 as well. It looks like it has the same features as the Plaud Note Professional. And so again, the one I used was the Plaud Note Professional, and that's the one I'm opining on here. So what about the features in these things? Well, Multimodal input. All devices support capturing not just audio, but also highlights, text notes, images for comprehensive documentation. So within the system and the software that they provide you, which is basically an interface that's working around a large language model, you're able to use multiple kinds of, because it is a generative AI model, multiple kinds of input, whether it's an image, you're taking a photo of something, you're transcribing something, or even taking, having PDF files that you're dragging into the consideration of the conversation. So you can talk to somebody, and if they're giving you documentation, they're giving you PowerPoint presentations, they're giving you other things that are in other formats, you can add that to the conversation as well. So in other words, you can not only capture what you talked about during the conversation, the action items that you have, but any archival information that's around that conversation. That's pretty neat. In some of these very intensive business conversations where you gather requirements for software systems, things like that. The ability to combine everything into one single group of information is going to be of value to you. So all these devices, through the software system they provide, we'll talk about that in a minute, they can transcribe and summarize recordings in 112 languages, complete with accurate speaker labeling. So that is a benefit if you're working at a multinational company where people are, speaking many languages. Your ability to have a conversation with somebody and work through an interpreter, and your ability to get an accurate representation of the translation of whatever language they're talking to you in is going to be of huge value. Because in many cases, I see when I'm dealing with language barriers, when I talk to my clients and they're talking to me, I'm missing stuff. And if I'm able to record the conversation or transcribe the conversation, then understand natively what they're saying. In other words, I'm not going to be missing some of the details. And you can certainly do that if you're going through an interpreter or using Google Translate or something like that. That's going to be of value. And in fact, I probably, spent thousands and thousands of dollars because I missed things in conversations I had with people that were not native English speakers. And this solves that issue, which if you have that issue, this would be a reason to buy this technology. And for you security nerds out there, it's able to provide enterprise grade compliance like ISO 27001 and 27701, SOC2, HIPAA, GDPR, all those sorts of things for data protection across all the Plaud products. So if you need that, you're in the enterprise, that has to be a legal requirement for you to remain compliant with whatever laws of the country and laws of the region, laws of your industry. It looks like they're able to handle that. And the software they provide provides integration and sharing. You're able to export to organizations and sharing of notes compatible with established workplace tools. So you can post it to any number of tools, social media, email, all those sorts of things. You're able to transcribe the conversation. You're able to run it through AI analysis. So you're getting bits and pieces of what was said, and you're getting the action items for those things and what was really the important parts of the conversation. And not only for your use, but your ability to send it off your coworkers as well, post it on Slack, every, a share object that's out there, post it on social media. I'm not sure why you want to do that, but you could, and that's handy. So what about the subscription plans? Here we go, subscriptions again. I know everybody hates subscriptions, and I'm one of them. Well, they have a free tier that includes basic AI transcription, note management, and fundamental export options with the device purchase. So in other words, you're going to get the ability to use a basic free tier that's going to limit you in the amount of hours you're able to record and process and things like that. But it's pretty good. In other words, if you're just using it, you're a casual user, real estate agent, lawyer, things like that, you're having a few of these conversations a day. It's not necessarily, hours and hours and hours of transcription that you're doing. That would be the plan that I would suggest. And what you can typically do as well, and I suggest this, use the free tier, until you run out of runway. In other words, you're using it more than you thought, and then upgrade to the next tier up, which by the way is called the Pro plan. And that's the one I got just because I wanted to get in and look at the different features for this review. And that's $100 a year, $99.99 a year, and they provide you with 1,200 AI transcription minutes per month, 10,000 official templates, access to Ask Plaud, custom templates, and industry glossaries as well. And one of the things I notice is within their systems, they do adapt to particular industries like financial, healthcare, things like that. Because obviously there's lingo that's said and different ways that people describe things that are unique to a particular industry. They're considering that in their transcription, AI transcription services as well. And finally, for your power users, unlimited plan, which is $239.99 and 99 cents. I always love the 99 cents a year for unlimited AI transcription minutes. And that's going to feature time saving. Users can reclaim approximately 260 hours per year by automating post-meeting summaries and extracting critical insights. So it's the big thing there. You're not going to run out or run away. In other words, if you're using this thing every day, all day, basically if this was reInvent 365 days of the year and you're recording and transcribing lots of stuff, that's your business. Maybe you're going to use the Pro plan. I think very few people would need to upgrade and have to spend that kind of money. That's just me. So what's the good and the bad of this device? Well, it's time saving and handy. I've noticed when I'm using AI tools, such as, Zoom has a AI assistant where it can transcribe the calls and then give you a summary at the end of the call. I always thought that was handy because I'm not having to go through, 10,000 words in a couple of hour phone calls. I can get to the basic heart of what the conversation was about and some of the actions that we took off, some of the deadlines that were there, things that are very important. And the ability to put it into a portable package where you're able to take it with you and it's a small device, this is a pretty small device unto itself. That's going to be handy. And I did find it of value, but I knew it was going to be of value just because of the other AI tools that I used. And obviously there's options out there. Some of you are probably screaming at the, at your monitor now, telling me that, well, LLMs can already do this stuff. And you certainly can. If you're a ChatGPT user, you can transcribe directly into those systems and they can automatically give you a summary as well, which is probably going to be, I would say for most uses, every bit as good as what this product is going to provide. Now, the problem is you're going to have to go through a few steps. You're going to have to record it, drag it into ChatGPT, or if you're using an aggregator, make sure it's recorded correctly and make sure you're asking the prompt to give you the information back and the summary of information back. And there's going to be different levels of consistencies, things like that. But it works. And so if somebody is saying, well, I can use an LLM, if you think you can use an LLM directly on your phone or some other device, more power to you. I think that's fine. I think the way this thing is priced, though, it's able to provide you with a little bit more convenience, and you're going to pay for that. But not a lot. $130 for a device like this, I wouldn't consider a lot. And I think most of you are going to be able to survive with the free tier. And so this device becomes kind of a handy device you can throw in your pocket and use when you need it. That doesn't mean there aren't other alternatives out there, and either alternatives are going to be free. But sometimes convenience is worth a little bit of money. In my world, it was. And I found it to be very handy at reInvent. All the conversations I had, I couldn't keep track of them. I didn't have to take notes during the conversation. And went ahead and uploaded them after the conversation was there. It was able to summarize them, get the action items out of it, and get the core points, that I can put in, plans and how I'm going to do videos about the technologies and things like that. And that was handy to me. That had value. And so the ability to have a little bit more relaxed time at some of these conferences where there's a lot of information being bantered about because something else is going to be managing that on your behalf, I think is going to take some stress off you. So it's very good at recording in low volume and staticky and noisy environments, such as conference presentations. When I attended the keynote, for example, I turned this on and was able to record the entire keynote. It was 2.5 hours or whatever the marathons that they have at reInvent. And it was able to transcribe it and had a good summary of what was said and a good summary of what was there, any action items that were coming forward, and even notes that I could provide in there and things that I wanted to look at later. And so that was pretty impressive. So in other words, I was sitting way in the back of the room, had the device on the floor. People were talking around me, and it was able to pick up most of what the keynote presenter said. So what about the bad aspects of this? Well, as we talked about already, it may not be needed. Given the power of other AI-driven applications that can do the same thing on your phone. So you can record on your phone and you can transcribe it. There's lots of transcription systems out there. You can certainly upload it to Google and then send it directly into an LLM, and it basically does mostly the same stuff. Now, it's not customized and has templates and is industry specific, and that's what you're kind of paying for with this additional service and technology. But I think in many cases, it's going to be good enough where people are going to be able to get away with just leveraging an LLM. And I can see why they want to use it. Devices are going to become obsolete. Subscription services become annoying because you stop using them and you're still paying them and you have to get them to stop. But I think if you approach this device and looking at the true value of what it's going to have, I don't think you'll be disappointed. So the similar function things, I get it. And lots of folks are going to comment down there that you're using LLMs now to do very similar things. More power to you. I think that's absolutely a legitimate option. And, probably not right for me as much, and not right for many of the professionals out there that just want turnkey, switch on solutions, which is what this is. But that's certainly a legitimate comment. So the subscriptions are more expensive than the other options. So maybe more of an issue if you're paying lots of money. Subscriptions, not a happy fan of that. Obviously, I subscribed to whatever $10 a month tier that they had, and I think that's going to be good enough for me. Chances are I'm not even going to use past what the free tier was, but that's going to be another subscription that in a year I'm going to have to figure out to turn off or leave on, based on my usage of the device. So, and then finally, this could be obsolete fairly quickly in just a year, given the pace of technology changes. So we're looking at this now, but obviously there's going to be new versions of this. So we're going to have to upgrade to those versions. And new versions of subscription service, we're going to have to upgrade to those, and different capabilities and changes based on the growth and the change and dynamic nature of the LLMs out there, which is what this is powered by. And I'm not sure which one, but it's definitely powered by an LLM that they're subscribing to. But eventually, this is like every gadget that we have in our fleet. These things are going to change all the time, and they become so much junk, we're going to throw them in a drawer and be forgotten until eventually, years from now, we throw it away and wonder what the heck that was. So Plaud's product lineup addresses diverse note-taking scenarios. And, the Plaud Note Pro offers premium features for executives in high-demand settings. The Note that I have balances professional capability with affordability. And the NotePin provides portability for spontaneous recording needs. And so if you're a person that's comfortable with carrying a pendant around your neck, then that's going to be an option as well. I think it's a little creepy. I think you should tell people that you're transcribing them. Obviously, they know you're transcribing them if you're holding, something like this in front of them, or if you're holding your phone in front of them, but not necessarily the pendants. So all benefit from robust AI security workflow integration, and it's a pretty good interface. And so the transcriptions that I did, I think it did a good job in transcripting the core notes, and was very accurate. Didn't miss a lot. In fact, I didn't think it missed anything in the conversations based on what I recall them. So both free and flexible paid subscription tiers are there. I suggest you use the free tier until you have to move to a non-free tier. I think most people are going to figure out if this is something they want to use or not in a very short period of time. Worst case, you're going to be out $130, $150 if this turns out to be nothing that you want to deal with, or if you're within the return period, send it back if it's not working out for you. So users can tailor access advanced features, expanded transcription minutes for industry-specific templates, and that's kind of cool in there. In other words, if you're working in the healthcare industry and the technology industry like I work in, the ability to have templates that are specific to the industries that you're working in, understanding the lingo, understanding the abbreviations, things like that, are going to be useful, very useful. And so if you're a consultant and you're working in the healthcare industry and there's lots of lingo when you're talking to, providers and payers and things like that, you'll be able to get around that without having to, look up every acronym that's out there. And that further amplifies productivity of the system. So if you're operating in a particular industry, that's going to be helpful. So if you're looking for versatility, portability, professional stuff, everything's professional and nice about this, from the documentation of the website. And I'll put the website link below. So you can look at it directly. You can certainly buy it directly from Plaud, or you can go directly to Amazon and some other resellers to buy it. From the boxing, from the device itself. I mean, it is a plastic device, but it's, fairly well put together. The only physical problem I found is trying to get this thing out of here. So it took needle nose pliers to pull it out there the first time. I suspect to get it out the second time as well. But that will go in the back of other sleeves that you may have for MagSafe products. So if you have a MagSafe wallet, which I have, things like that, it's about the size of 2 or 3 credit cards, which should fit in there without a problem. It is going to take up space, but it's not going to take up a lot of space. So it's going to be compatible with the current everyday carry from the people out there who want to use some of these devices. So is it worth it? Yeah, I think so. For what I use it for, this is a device that I think is going to have value for me for at least the next year. And the conversations that I have, either, on the phone or, on Zoom or, directly face to face, which not many conversations occurring that way these days. And my ability to kind of organize all that stuff and go back and see it was discussed, because in many cases I will have 20, 30 conversations a week, and it's very difficult for me to go back and remember everything that was said during the conversations. Prices discussed, deadlines discussed, things like that. Obviously, I want to keep up with those. And in many cases, I want to import them directly into my to-do list, into my calendar, into my, billable sheet, into my accounting software. This has the potential of doing that. I haven't figured out the integrations of that yet for my particular situation, but I think it's going to be fine for those sorts of things. So for my usage, it's good. Now, you guys may find something different. And certainly if you're cheap and you're looking at some of the alternatives out there, there probably is some free stuff out there you're able to use. If not, I guarantee you there's going to be some open source systems, which is fine. They're going to be able to use via your phone. And if that's going to be a better, working path for you, then by all means, go ahead and use that. So anyway, let me know what you think about this device below, or what you thought about the review, and if you're looking for more reviews, and happy to take suggestions on devices and other systems that are AI related that you would like for me to review. By the way, I paid for this with my own money. I didn't contact Plaud and ask them for a sponsorship. I did send them a note and told them I was doing this review, and they sent me a note back, one sentence, said, "Thank you very much, good luck." And so that's basically the way they're going to deal with that. But I would wait for these things to go on sale. Like I said, $150 now. They go on sale all the time. And see if you can get a discount code from somewhere. I'm not going to have any here. But, I think it's one of these things where it's worth a try. That's probably my most honest review. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe and check out my other videos on this channel. Also check out my InfoWorld Cloud Computing blog, my 100+ LinkedIn learning courses, and of course my generative AI course out on Go Cloud Careers. And finally, my latest books, Unlocking the Power of Cloud and Insider's Guide to Cloud Computing. So until next week, stay very, very safe. The magical YouTube algorithm thinks that this is another one of my videos that you should watch next.